views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB TV.
Like it is. Don't be ashamed. Let your conscience be your guide. But I know deep down inside of me, I believe you love me. Forget your foolish pride.
And welcome to Good Medicine. I'm Counselor Holly Davis, and we're live in Las Vegas. WWDB TV coffee, too. Hey, parents. Today is all about you. It is the foibles, flaws, guffaws, and faux pas of the modern day parent. And I will tell you right now that my number one drug of choice is coffee. This is how I make it through, especially when it's WWDB TV coffee. That's how I get my wonderful personality. Ask my kids. So anyway, I do have 5 children, and I do work with a caseload of clients that are mostly children. So my background is that I am from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Oh, you. And I am Potawatomi Indian, very, very proud to be Potawatomi Indian and Chippewa Cree. And I didn't really learn about my heritage until much later in life. My parents were divorced before I was even born, and I have an identical twin sister. So Lisa was born first, and back in the day, they didn't have ultrasounds, and so after my sister was born, they're like, wow, you have a baby girl. Wow, that's great. Wow, you're in labor again. You have another baby girl, and they'd already named her Lisa. So it's a good thing I'm not Bisa or Misa. So they named me Holly after my grandma Holly, my blessed grandma Holly. So my parents were really amazing in their own special way. I couldn't have had better parents for me. And I believe that about most parents. There could not be a better parent for your child than you. And only you know how to parent them in the best way that is possible for them. So my mom was not a hands-on mom. She was nurturing in her own way, but she didn't coddle and she didn't over hover, the hovercraft mom. She basically let me do a lot of things on my own. And looking back in life, now my mom passed about 10 years ago, but looking back in life, I always just thought perhaps my mom didn't care or that she was aloof. And I know she had a lot of her own things going on, and studying a lot of psychology, I was able to discover that my mom had her own cross to bear in her own life, and there was a lot of things, and I give credit for that. And I did a lot of counseling because I wanted to understand my childhood and parenting and my mom and understand people a little better so I could help a little more, mostly myself. So her parenting was very hands-off, so I took it as maybe she wasn't interested in me or she didn't care. And then after she passed, one of her best friends and I got to have a great conversation, and she said, you know, Holly, it was because your mom thought that you were capable. And she didn't have to do a lot of the parenting. And at the same time, I'm still going to take my feelings into consideration that still hurts, that you want your mom's opinion and value her input in your life. At the same time, it really did set me free knowing that she thought I was really capable, and she really was proud of me. And I know she's proud of me. So that was my mom. She was an amazing, tough girl. My mom was adopted at the age of 3, so mom had a lot of connection issues, and I understand that as well. So looking back, I'm able to see so much more, understand, and grateful and thankful that she was the mom that she was. I wouldn't be here to this good day without her parenting skills. My dad, he was a jack of all trade. What was the word you said last week, JPEG? The guy who just knows how to do everything, a little bit of everything.
J-O-A-T.
A J-O-A-T. He just jack of all trades. But there was another one you called it. There's another word you called it. You'll come up with it by the end of the show, but I can't remember where.
Show off?
A show off. That's definitely my dad. Great dancer, amazing.
Oh, Renaissance.
A Renaissance man. So my dad's a Renaissance man. Can cook. He was in the military. Really, probably one of the best cooks ever. He was hilarious. He's funny. But he didn't over coddle and dote over me as well. So he would be the kind of dad when we'd get in the car, because we'd go with him on the weekends. We'd be like, Dad, take us to McDonald's. And it would always be no. I'm going to go make you a malt. a peanut butter malt. And we'd be like, okay. And I would do anything. I'd give this eye tooth for one of those malts because they were so delicious. And my dad is still around. He's in his 70s, his late 70s, and he's still my biggest fan, my biggest support. And I remember him telling me when I was a little girl, you can be anything that you want to be. You can be the president of the United States and I'll be your bodyguard. So that was the kind of support I had from my dad. But it was hands off. It was, you can do it. I know you can do it. Go to school. Remember people's names. Education's the only thing that people can't take away from you. Shake hands firmly. And I know you got this. So if I had a flat tire on the side of the road, my dad would be like, fix it. I always had to have a full tank of gas. I had to know how to change my own oil, air the tires. He took me fishing. And, we would tear down walls with him because I don't know if he knew that we were little girls and not little boys. But he did. He made us learn how to be ferociously and fiercely independent. So thank you, Dad. Thank you, Mom. So that was my parenting. And back in the 70s and 80s, I'm a child of the 80s, we laugh about it now, but, there was no sunblock. We didn't get a lot of sunblock, freckles, blisters. I don't even remember wearing a seat belt. We didn't have the baby, seat that we have for kids now and all of the things. Hot dog was a 3-course meal. So you got your ketchup, your fruit and vegetable, your hot dog and your bread. So you're good. And life was good and it was easy. It was good and it was easy. But you're thinking about parents who came from the baby boomers and their parents came from the Great Depression. And so there's such a shift now in parenting. So back in the day, perhaps, if you're coming from the Dust Bowl or the Great Depression, those parents were hiding mattress money and making sure that they had funds and money because they knew what it was to starve. Now let me ask you, do you know what it is to be starving? To be hungry and not be able to eat or not have enough food to make it till the end of the month. Or you don't know where you're going to get your next food or you're planting food to eat. So this is kind of the mentality. And then I have my parents who were the baby boomers and they were all about making sure that you had a very, I would say, comfortable life. Make sure that you get an education. Make sure that you save your money. Make sure these are people their houses were paid off. Their cars were paid off. They didn't take things out on credit. If you couldn't afford it, you don't buy it. So that kind of thing. So everything had to be very supportive and have a lot of focus on being safe. So that's a great way of putting dream bashing. So when I would say, Mom, I'm going to grow up and be the president, or whatever it was, you'd get maybe you should try to get a good job and marry a nice fella to take care of you, kind of a thing, right? Isn't that right? That's how we grew up, girls. I don't know if anybody else, right? And the boys would probably go get a good job so you can take care of your wife and children, and right? That's pretty much how we grew up. Now, the shift is now that parents are definitely, there's a lot more single moms out there, a lot of single dads out there rearing their children, or parents have 2 jobs. So there's such a shift in parenting right now. Children aren't as active. Children are really considered very highly as a part of the family. So, for example, when I was a kid, my mom, I'm pretty sure, now, I can assure you, she never asked me what I wanted for dinner, right? And we ate what she made, and we ate a lot of SOS, and if you've ever been in the military, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, and my mom was a great cook, and she could put on amazing spreads, and she really made home very homey for us. So Christmas was a Christmas wonderland. Easter was always very Eastery. So she was really involved in the home, and she was a stay-at-home mom. She was my Girl Scout leader. I remember having boxes and boxes of Girl Scout cookies. Would you like to buy a box of Girl Scout cookies? That's why I always say yes, because I was that little girl that people wouldn't even answer and walk off, right? So I always acknowledge, and I always buy the cookies. Even if I don't buy them for myself, I buy them for our servicemen and women. Thank you for serving. Thank you for serving, and I will always buy you guys cookies and myself, because there's nothing better than Thin Mints from Girl Scouts. So my childhood, my mom was there a lot. And then when we got a little bit older, she went to work, right? And so we became a little more independent. And I know by the time I was able to drive and get into school and high school, I had a job, went to school, and and I was gone. So I never turned back. So that's how I was raised. And being from Oklahoma, I think it's a little different as well. A little more grit, a little more, I don't know, go do it kind of a thing. Because children back in the day were also, you were reared to help in the home, right? And the farming and you were part of the business. I don't know if you're the business plans or not, but we'll have a couple of kids here and they can help with the restaurant and they can, right, JPEG? Am I right? Is this what happened? Yes, this is what happened. And so they were really a part of helping. And so I know for me, now I'm just going to speak for me and my kids. They don't have regular chores. Don't throw tomatoes. So we know that Saturday's cleaning day. So at least I'm not like, get up off the couch right now, stop what you're doing, or stop playing and come clean. Which when I was a kid, that was the MO. If you were asked to do something, you better not even talk back or say anything. It was just yes, ma'am, yes, sir, and you did it, right? Even if you gave a funny look, you would much regret that immediately. So you just did what you were told, right? Am I right? Am I right? You just do as you're told, right? Do as I say, not as I do. And now I know for my children, I know that a lot of things for me when I was younger I felt weren't fair. And I have a fair complex. I think it's because I'm a twin. So everything has to be fair or I get really upset. So with my own children, I consider I would like things to be fair for them. So I ask them on Saturdays. Those are the days that we do our chores. I do ask them, what do you want for dinner? And it's simply because meal planning for me is like the worst. I'm really not good at it. I'm like, what do you want for dinner? What could I make on Monday? Manwich, I don't know, Tuesday, taco, Wednesday, wraps, whatever. I don't know. It's not easy for me. So I do ask their input. But one of our ongoing jokes in my home is that my older kids, so I have 5 kids, 19, 17, 10, 9, and 7. My older kids will get in the car and go, can I get a Frappuccino? Can we get Starbucks? You know, a $5 cup of coffee. And I always think about what my mom would say if I got in the car and said, not even hi, how's your day or whatever, come get me a Frappuccino. I think my mom said, I would give you a Frappuccino is what you're going to get. So I don't think I would have even asked for those kinds of things. I just took what I was given, and I don't even know. Did you guys ask for things? I don't know. Did you ask for things, JPEG, when you were young? You did? Like what?
Stuff.
The BB gun, don't shoot your eye out, and...
Actually, I was pretty lucky because I was working. My mother owned a couple of restaurants when I was growing up, so I would work there and she would pay me.
So you had your own money. See, and I'm the same way. I remember asking my grandma for some money for school supplies, and it must have been 5th grade. I was like 10 or 11 years old, and she was like, get a job. So I literally went to the store. I got, now it must have been, you know, like pre-teens time, because I had to get something to where I could work a little bit earlier, like my parents could sign off, and I remember swabbing the deck. You guys know what swabbing the deck is at the grocery store, right? So I would work at the grocery store so that I could pay for my own supplies, because there was a time when I was just cut off from all those things. So if I wanted it, I would have to work. So that, hence you have Holly Davis. That's who I am now, from Oklahoma, American Indian lady, and I have 5 children. So after I went to school, I started school in Hot Springs, Arkansas. I moved away from home, never turned back, and I have a BA in church administration, and my AA is in communication. So I started in radio when I was 18, and believe me, I'm pretty sure I went down in history as being one of the worst. No, I'm not kidding. One of the worst. I remember the first time I was on air, and there was a button that you had to push, and I was so nervous. I was so scared to turn on the button. I was like, hi, it's Holly. And then after I got off and I you know, pushed the off button and pushed my music, I like fell on the floor. I was just so nervous. And my friends were with me, were laughing. It was hysterical, good fun at a college radio station, but that's where I got my start. And then I went in to get my master's degree, because after 2008, everything just kind of fell apart for me. And anybody else? Things fell apart after 2008 and the economic crisis and everything. And I was a single mom, and the jobs that I was working at just wasn't commiserative of the skill level that I brought. And I was a single mom thinking, you know, I really need to do something about this where I can have a firm foundation, and something that I'm very interested in, always has been, is psychology. And I also believe that my natural gift is counseling, and that's just that gift of listening and caring about people. So I decided, I think I'd really like to do that. And the joke is, I don't want to mess anybody up, and I want to get paid for all the time I spend talking people off the ledge. And to this good day, friends will call and ask for help, and I'm so happy to do it. It like makes my day. It makes my life. So I love to help people because I've asked for help. So where this all started is when I had my first daughter. She is going to be 20 in August, Leo baby. I began to ask for help with parenting because I just wanted to do things right. I wanted to be a good parent. Now, not going to be a perfect parent. You're not going to be a perfect parent. But if we can learn to do things better, if you could really learn to listen to yourself and not listen to other people, that's where I feel like I made my biggest mistakes and my biggest heartbreak in my parenting career and for my children was when I listened to what other people said about how to rear my children. Because I think that mother does know best. You know how to give your child what they need. And you can be their best counselor, their best friend, their best doctor, and everything that they need to learn to advocate and meet their own needs when you parent from the heart. So today, the foibles, flaws, and guffaws and faux pas of the modern day parent. I'm going to share some of the mistakes I've made. I'm going to give you some, of course, resources. We're going to hear from our panel of other people what they think good parenting is. And I'll take some calls to 702-778-4710. I'm going to put myself out there and say, hey, go ahead and call and see if we can work something out today. If I can help you just a little bit, that would be great. So it's 702-778-4710 if you want some counseling right here, right now. If you just have a burning question, let's answer it. There's no need for you to need help and not ask for help. I can't help you if you don't ask for help. And if I can't help you, I'm going to get you the information you need. Also, my information is hollydaviscounseling.com. You can look that up, and I can set something up for you as well if you need help with your parenting. We all do. There is no one out there who's a perfect parent. So 702-778-4710. We're going to take a small break. We're going to come back from the break, and we're going to talk about some of the mistakes that parents make, some of the foibles, and how to get back on the right track in your parenting. Because you can. You can start today and get right back on the right path of parenting. So stay with us. I'm Holly Davis, and this is Good Medicine.
Mommy! Yep, it's time for... When a tummy bug strikes, pour baking soda on the mess to help minimize the smell and dry up vomit so that you can vacuum it up. Next time, line the floor with waterproof doggy pee pads. Use a permanent marker to make a chart on the back of an antibiotic bottle. Check off each dose to help you keep track. When your prescription container is empty, store Band-Aids, alcohol swabs, and tweezers in the perfect traveling first aid kit. Dirty tissues are not funny. Tie a full tissue box to an empty one with rubber bands to create a convenient tissue garbage. To ease little ones coughing, elevate the mattress slightly with rolled up towels. Rub 3 fingers worth of Vicks Vapor Rub on their chest. Play Guess the Shape for a worry-free remedy your kids will love.
Hot.
Soak a sponge and freeze in a baggie for an easy ice pack for bummer boo-boos. Add 1 part rubbing alcohol to 3 parts water and freeze for a flexible ice pack that will get cold but not hard. To disguise the taste of antibiotic medicine, mix in a little chocolate or strawberry syrup. Ear infection be gone. Kids stuck in bed? A cookie sheet makes a great activity tray. Use it as a magnet board or as a surface for coloring.
Feeling better?
Owie ear? Fill a white tube sock with coarse sea salt and a couple drops of lavender essential oil. Warm in the microwave to relieve the earache. Use old shoe boxes and washcloths to create a doll hospital to keep your sick kid entertained. A medicine cup, tea light, and prescription bottle cap make a great dollhouse lantern. For sore throats, mix water and lemon with honey. No popsicle mold? Pour into empty baby yogurt containers, stick in a plastic spoon, freeze, and voila! That's a tasty remedy. Bringing crayons to the exam table is a great way to keep kids entertained while they wait at the doctor's office for their checkup. All right, all better.
Mom!
Until next week.
Shh. How many times have you done that as a parent?
Quiet. Quiet.
We're talking about parenting today. Foibles, flaws, guffaws, and faux pas of parenting for the modern day parent. Parenting has shifted a lot. So I'm pretty sure that our parents never would have said, oh, my mom was my best friend. And maybe they were. Maybe they were. When I say being your parent's best friend and being best friend with your child, what I mean is there has to be a trust established in parenting. So what I will tell my teenagers, you know, there's a lot of things I really don't need to know about their life. But the most important things, I would like to be a part of it so that I can help them make the best choices. So I'll always tell my children, listen, you need to be honest with me. You need to always tell me exactly where you are, who you're with, who your friends are, and I want to know them. And I want to know their parents for the most part as well, too. I want to introduce myself, meet them, shake hands so I know where they're going, where they say they're going to go. And so I do have some parents' numbers on the bat line if I need to call. But for the most part, just like my parents did, and I'm really, really grateful, they trusted that they've already imparted all the wisdom, knowledge, blood, sweat, and tears. 95% of my income goes to my children. So I can assure you that when I've invested and planted that much into these people, that they're own people, and I've loved them and I've assured them that they can do it, then I'm expecting that they can do their best. And I'm going to repeat that. I am expecting that my children are going to do their very, very best. With everything that I've poured in, there can't not be good fruit to that. So I do trust them. And if the trust is broken, I make it very clear, then you are not going to go get to do the things that you want to do that are important to you, because I have to be able to trust you. So that's where I draw the line with friendship. I believe in being firm but loving, but I would have to say that most of my parenting is a little on the allowing side. I don't like the word passive side. It's the allowing side. So I allow my children to make the grades that they're going to make. Right away, starting really young. I do help them if they need help, but for the most part, even a kindergartner knows when they come home, they'll have homework. Most of the time they don't, and if they do, it's no big deal. So getting into that habit and making good habits for their educational career. And education is a huge value for me. So this isn't something that I have to put in my children's face all the time and tell them 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 what I told them. They know that it is because I'm still in school. I go to school. As a matter of fact, you should have seen me this morning. I was putting my work in for school. I'm working on a PhD in human services. It's 2 days late, and I'm trying to put on eyelashes to get here on time. So I think I got ready for in my usual 2 minutes. So that's how I roll. But still, it's not about the grade. It's about the journey of self with education. So I do it because I enjoy it. I love research. I love learning more. I love being on the cutting edge. I love reading. I love learning about people. So for me, if that's a value, then it's very possible that it'll be a value for my children as well. So it's not something that we have to cram down their throats. There's really not much we have to cram down their throats. If I'm a good person, if I enjoy education, if I have lots of loving, supportive friends, if I know how to advocate for myself, then it's very likely that our children are learning that as well, just by example. Kids learn so much from watching you, and that's why it's so important that I follow my life's path and my goals and my gifts. Because my kids see that, and then they see how important it is to follow their giftings. Could you ask for anything more important in parenting than your children following their giftings? I don't think so. Learning how to advocate for themselves, learning how to build good friendships, and knowing the difference about what's good friendships and what's not, what's healthy and what's not healthy. And they learn that from making the mistakes. So I allow them to make the friends that they make. I want to know who they are, and then we'll get to talk about their friendships. What happened that was good? What happened that was bad? And how can they advocate and be a better friend to that person so that person learns to be a good friend, but at the same time learning how to protect your heart. So I teach my kids things like that, how to advocate, how to protect yourself from bullies. And it's as simple as this. No one talks to me that way. Teach my kids that really young. Or I'm sorry, you don't want to be my friend. I'm still your friend. But then know that person may or may not be your friend the next day, right? So we just teach them. So I don't try to go in and control it. Because I find that in my business working with children and counseling, being a mom, having friends and family, having an identical twin sister, you can't control people. You can't. It's impossible. You're responsible for your thoughts, feelings, and actions. So with my children, if they make F's, then they are the ones that are going to be responsible for that F. Okay, I guess you're not going to 5th grade next year. That's pretty scary, right? That's their own responsibility. And at 5th grade, you know you need to get your homework done, right? You know how to do the basic things. Of course, I'm going to help if they need it. If they ask me for my help, I'm there to help them. And that's my biggest premise with my kids. If you need my help, please ask me. And they're not afraid to, because I'm not going to come back in a punishing way. It's going to be listening. It's going to be processing. It's going to be without judging. Because I know when I was a kid, probably all I wanted was a listening ear. Not anybody to fix or judge or tell me what you ought to do. I just needed someone to listen so I could kind of figure it out on my own. And that is the approach that I take in counseling as well, is I listen to people and I allow them to make the decisions on their own and fall back on their own resources and what they know in their heart that they need to do. And teach them to listen to that and be still and listen to that. An example, when I was a new mom, I was really young. I was about 24, 25 years old. And I remember doing all this planning for my baby. I knew what her name was. I knew what all her clothes were. I think I had them all lined up in a row. I think I washed her socks like 4 or 5 times before she showed up, just in case there was any dust on the socks. And, you know, she could have put her foot in her mouth and then she would have dust on her socks and then she would get sick. And, you know, I was really nesting and I really wanted everything to be perfect for baby Hope. And you know, I really wanted to be a good mom. That was my heart's desire. I didn't want to mess up this child, and I wanted to love her unconditionally. And so I, of course, listened to all the advice that was given me. And I would read so many books, too. So many books. What to expect when you're expecting, all those things. Some parenting books. And just to kind of know what to expect and be guarded with some good ideas. But everybody, when you are going to have a baby, is going to give you their impression and their ideas of what you should do. People are going to should on you so much when you're a new mom. So that's why when people are new mommies and it's really apparent, make sure it's really, really apparent before you say anything about that new mommy. I just say, oh, so what's the baby's name? Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. Instead of, you know what you should do. Because they don't really want, did they ask for your advice? Most of the time, people don't ask for your advice. And if they do, then, of course, be happy to share. But as a new mom, I really was interested in breastfeeding. I wanted to breastfeed my baby. I was not breastfed. And it seemed to be kind of like a new trend back in the day, about 20 years ago. And I remember one of my family members said, breastfeeding is for cows. And so just shot me down, right? Shot me down, shot me down. And I was very structured. So it was nursing. There could be no babas. There could be no binkies. It was just really structured. And when things didn't work out, I wasn't really open. Things had to be this certain way. So I learned that things aren't always going to work out exactly the way you want. And I also co-slept with my baby. Now, I got a lot of flack over that as well. Because I was nursing, I wanted the baby with me. I wanted to snuggle. I wanted to hold this baby and love this baby and reassure this baby. Right, mamas? Isn't that what we want to do with our babies instead of putting them down the hall? I just couldn't imagine this baby was in the womb for 9 months and then I'm going to wrap you up and put you down the hall. And this was the more of the wonderful advice I got from really true, good-meaning people. You got to have that baby down the hall. You got to have a schedule. You can't eat and sleep on demand. You gotta, right? And so I would begin to judge myself or feel bad if I didn't have a schedule for the baby and I didn't have the baby down the hall and the baby was running my life, not me, you know. And it was just a lot of confusion. And those are the times I feel the very worst about the parenting, because I didn't listen to my heart. I would put my baby in her room down the hall, and I would shut the door, and I would literally get on the floor and cry with the baby because I wanted to hold the baby. But everybody else was saying, well, you're not a good mom if you don't hold your baby, if you hold your baby too much, if you love your baby too much. And it was really interesting how this first 6 months of having a colicky baby, brand new mom, turned out. And that was baby Hope. So those are the times of definitely my deepest regret. But there was a little ray of sunshine. I had this doctor, and he retired right after my daughter was born. He's my pediatrician, and he said, you know, I want to tell you something. Because I told him I've got this pulling and pushing and pushing me around about my parenting. And, you know, some people say, don't, you know, you're going to smash your baby, and there's no co-parenting, and nursing's not good, and they're not getting enough nutrition, your baby's starving. And my doctor said, zip it. He said, first of all, no one needs to know what's going on in your bed. Okay. That's between you and you. First of all, and in most countries in the world, babies, families all sleep together. And unless you're coming home drunk and belligerent, no mommy is going to sleep on their baby. Okay? And he's like, and furthermore, that's your decision. That's the decision you get to make as a mommy. Okay? That really set me free. That really set me free, and things began to open up for me, because I know that the times that I had my greatest pressure in parenting is when I was caring about what other people thought about me. You notice when you go into a grocery store and a baby's crying and everybody's giving the dirty look? Do you do that? That's probably you too, right? It's right. And I would be the energy would be, oh my gosh, this baby has to be quiet because I don't want to interrupt somebody else's highly evolved shopping experience. You know what? You don't know those people. They don't know you. And at the end of the day, when you're 90 years old on your rocking chair, you're really not going to care about what they thought, but you are going to care about how you interacted with your baby and how you were with your child. And when you have that uptight energy, the baby feels it and senses it and is going to act exactly like you do, mom, dad, when you're uptight. You know, when you're in a place where the baby needs to be quiet and the mom and dad are trying to shush this baby, I say the more calm and control and the more you know about you and the more you understand, the better the parenting experience, because the child picks that up. If you're verklempt and you are, you know, you're whirling out of control 1,000 miles per hour, the babies, they pick it up. I mean, kids are extremely intelligent, so they understand and they know. So the times that you are the most calm and most in control are the times that the children know that. So you can't explain it away. You have to be calm, you have to be clear, and you have to know what you need to do for your child. Another example. I remember I was having a birthday party, and my kid, she must have been 2, and she stomped on my toe. And by that time, people had already come for the party. And I was like, you know what? I'm the only one in this house. I'm the only woman in this house. I'm the only one that's going to run this house. You or 2. You don't get to do that. No, no, no. And I put her in a room. And I made her stay in there. No, there was no redemption. She didn't get to have a party. I have to make this statement. I have to win this war. And really, you can't punish kids into behaving properly. You cannot punish kids into behaving properly. And that's total transformation. Information right there. Really, you have to explain and let them understand why that's not appropriate. And there could be a timeout that would have been commensurate with that behavior instead of just taking everything away, right? So I really regret that deeply, because she sat in her room the whole time. Gosh only knows what she was thinking about her mom, and really thinking that I was in control. I was actually not. I was not in control. I was worrying about what other people thought. So if I've impressed anything upon you, is please just worry about what you think about that child, and what that child thinks about you is very important. Now, I'm not saying be best friends with a kid and not establish a firm but loving relationship. But I do think that bond, or lack thereof, is one of the most impressive bonds and arena for growing than any other. So when people come into my office, you know where it always starts. When I was little. Take that into consideration. It's how we were reared. It's how we were raised. It's going to make an impact forever. So it is very, very important. But I also would say, have a childlike heart and have faith with it and have fun with parenting. Have fun with parenting. It is not meant to smash you down. It makes you a better person, and it makes your children a better person when you're listening and parenting from the heart. So childlike heart with parenting is when you have faith just like a kid. My kid, he wakes up, he knows he's going to be fed. They know that they're going to be taken care of. They know that they're going to school that day. And they might even get an ice cream. They didn't even ask for it. You know, hey, we're going to stop and have ice cream. And they're just sitting there eating that ice cream like, you know, this is a really cool thing. I didn't even have to ask for it. That's how really good life is, right? We get so many of our needs met, and it's really not as hard to earn $1 or get food on the table or be a mom and have a career as it was 25, 50 years ago, right? So I do believe that you can parent from the heart, have childlike faith, and believe that your children are going to be more than okay. They're going to make it, even in this crazy world that's going to hell in a handbasket, that they're going to be more than okay when you're in control and when you have your own childlike faith and when you make it fun. Lighten up just a little bit. Lighten up, because those are the times that you're going to sit around and talk to your kids about, remember that time when, and it's usually going to be surrounded by laughter. It's usually going to be surrounded when you finally did lighten up just a little bit and enjoy the ride. Enjoy the fact that you have those children. What a blessing. The greatest blessing of your life is being a parent. So I will take, if I have a time for a call, 702-778-4710 if you have any questions or if you have a situation. Otherwise, you can also contact me at hollydaviscounseling.com. And I'm going to go to our panel on what they think about parenting. I put this on social media. So what's your idea of being a good parent? And so Ashley Joy Davis said, supportive, consistent, and dedicated. No truer words, right? If you're supportive of that kid and you're consistent parenting, even if even if you don't do everything right, if you're always trying to work things out and do things differently and being better, if you're a dedicated parent, believe me, that child, it won't go unnoticed. You might not get all the appreciation you want now. They might not understand the diligence and the dedication, but one day you will definitely get the thank yous and see the fruit that you're longing for as a parent. Or how about this? Being present. So important, and that is such a good input, and that was Robin Clark Douglas. Being present with your children means no phone, being there, and really connecting. Even if you did that and took a little bit of time, that little bit of time is so precious. You are planting seeds for that kid for the rest of their life. They're going to remember those moments. They're going to live on those moments of mom and dad being very present and being with me. So important. Love, support, and patience. I don't think you can love your kid enough. I don't think you can give them enough hugs. I don't think you can tell them that you love them enough. Before they leave, tell them you love them. The first thing you see them in the morning, good morning, I love you. And really hugs, I don't think you can hug a kid enough. I really, truly don't. Teaching how to navigate through this crazy world, right? Loving, caring, appropriate discipline, right from wrong, setting a good example. Those are just some of the few highlights from Carmen McKines. And I agree completely. And I think a major way to teach them how to navigate through this world is they watch you. And when you follow your heart and you follow your bliss and you do the things that make you happy and give you joy, you're following your giftings, your children are watching that. I don't think you could give them a better gift. And I want to even say this, and even seeing you fall down and fail. My children have seen that repeatedly. And I don't think that I've ever given them a better example, because I've failed so many times. There's been times when I was a single mom, I was on welfare. I didn't know if I was going to be able to feed my kids. We ate at the dollar store, and I put myself back through school. And believe me, that was really, really difficult. There's times I've failed numerous times just in parenting and not being present, being on the phone at the park while I'm pushing them on the swings. So many failures, flaws, and guffaws. And that is a huge faux pas for me. If your kid is on the swing, your phone better be off or in your pocket. Please take that time to be with your child, right? And this isn't anything that we all haven't done. Another thing is the video games or your phone. Get off the video games, get off the phone. When my kids are in the car, the phone's off. We need to be around it. We don't need to take any calls when you're driving. That's that wonderful time that you get to be with your kids. And when my kids are around, I don't like taking calls. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, those are my business hours. And I make that very, very firm because I have children. And they need me to be present. Get off the phone. Please, let's all do better. Even if we could do a percentage better this week of getting off of the electronic and the social media and being with our kids. Instead of taking pictures, snapping them, and put them online so everybody can, just be with your kid this week. We can all really up that and have that presence with our children. It's so important. Leading by example, of course. Holding accountability, I think that's really important as well. Doing the best you can. Honesty and respect. Deanna Gimson Cryer said that, and I love that. And we'll finish up with this today on Good Medicine, is doing the best you can. I mean, if we don't learn anything different, we're going to do things the same way. If we continue to learn and grow and try to do things better every single solitary day, listening to your kids, taking them on a date, taking them to ice cream, just you and that kid, they'll talk. They want to be heard, and especially when you tell them, I really want to listen to you. I want to hear what you have to say. Let's stop, and I want to hear what you have to say. That means really everything to a kid. It really, really does, because it means that you respect kids, and I think that's something that we're losing in our culture today, is just respecting kids, respecting children. They are humans that have needs. They have a right to be here. They have a right for their needs to be met. They have a right to love and be loved, speak their truth, and connect with others just as you and I do. So they do have rights, but they also need to know that you have boundaries and guidelines, and kids love them, adhere to them, and cling to them, and they need that stability, those timelines, those guidelines, and routine. It's really important for kids. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just do your best, and wisdom. There can't be much better in life than to know how to do something and then really put it in your life. That is really true wisdom, and teaching them those things is really what we're supposed to do as parents. I'm learning how to live life, and they're watching me do it. Sometimes it's a cliffhanger, and it's hard to watch. But we made it, right? And, you know, parents, I commend you. I commend you. You're my heroes. It is not easy. It is not for the weak at heart. It's a warrior's job to be a parent, and I'm proud of you. If no one said, thank you for doing what you do every single day. Where's those shoes? Wear those shoes. Wear those shoes. Eat your dinner. Brush your teeth. Thank you for doing that. It is not something that is fruitless. There is a lot of fruit. Your children can impact so many other people's lives. Think about that. How many lives does your family impact? That's why this is the most important work that we do, is being a parent. So my name is Holly Davis. My email is holly@hollydaviscounseling, and my website is hollydaviscounseling.com, and this is WWDB-TV. My number is 702-626-9400. We're here every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Have a great week.
Tell it like it is. Don't be ashamed. Let your conscience be your guide. But I know deep down inside of me, I believe you love me.